30 times. Ten times more. Two times more. Letting go and stop.
So just imagine living a life, zero doubt, zero uncertainty. I mean, incredible.
How do we get to a place of not doubting ourselves?
You can, because you need to know who you are. You need to know who you are so that you don't doubt yourself, because the one that is doubting is the ego, the one that is doubting is the mind, and it's not who we are. So then you've got to become very aware of your thoughts. That one that is doubting, the negative thoughts, they're all coming from the ego, right? All of them. Because who you are would never have a negative thought ever. Who you are would never judge. Who you are who you are is allowing and accepting. And so all of those things are coming from the ego, and they are not who you are. And that voice in your head that you hear, that voice that's, so familiar to you and seems to know an awful lot about you and sounds like you, that voice is not you. That voice is just a program.
What was the voice that was in your head consistently pre-secret that you had to overcome that belief? And then what's been the program? Because I feel like every new evolution of us is going to be some type of thing to overcome. So has there been something you've had to overcome in the last 15 years post-secret to get to the next level?
Definitely negative thoughts. Definitely.
Before the secret, you had a lot of negative thoughts?
Heaps. I was like everybody. I was just like, I was pointing out all the things that were wrong. And somehow I was kind of brought up, and I think a lot of us are, that you're a good person if you point out the things that are wrong, You have to speak up and say, that's wrong. That shouldn't be happening. And so I was kind of brought up with that too. And so that's brought up with judgment. And that does not help us at all. Judgment, we need to put it in the trash. Yeah. Because that does not belong with us. And the one who is judging is the ego. It's the ego. It's judging. The one that has negative thoughts is the ego. So I had all of that going on. I had doubt, I had uncertainty, I had feelings of unworthiness, I had heaps of stress. Oh my God, heaps of stress. I was
this is pre the book.
Pre-secret, yeah. Living on the edge, I was like this with life, like white knuckles, What's going to happen next? Something bad's going to happen, and being really afraid it's, something's going to happen to somebody I love, or... So, I mean, I live my life like that, and I think everybody does, and they just kind of keep it all squashed down, but most people live their life that way.
30 times. 10 times more. Two times more. Letting go and stop.
I mean, in the last year, if you've been terrified, in the last year and really fearful in the last year, all of that fear has been given to you as this lovely gift, when you were maybe a child. And it's like, here's a whole lot of things to be fearful about. And then we go through fear. And I mean, it's very easy to see that there's no pandemic that is fear, a fear-based pandemic. Why do we know that? Because there are many people who are not afraid. And so if the pandemic was, in the world was actually a real fear manifestation, then every single person on the planet would be fearful. And while there are a lot of people fearful, there are still a lot who are not. Yeah. So that just shows you that the fear was already here with us, before the pandemic came along.
Right.
Yeah.
And what was the belief that you still had to overcome post secret? Because you overcame a lot to be able to create something like that. There was this incredible movement. But then were there other negative beliefs that still held you back?
Oh yeah, the biggest one was that I was abundant. That was the biggest one.
That was your limiting belief?
That was the one I had been brought up with. We can't afford it. We don't have enough, and money would come into my hands. It would slip through my fingers. Things would break down. The universe would do all these things to get the money out of my hands. It would just like take it away. Yeah, because I had this belief that I did not have an abundant amount of money, and that I was always in struggle. And that came from my parents, bless them, they're beautiful. But that came from them, we can't afford it and all of those things. So I was brought up with that, as many of us are. So the one that I had the biggest thing to overcome, the biggest thing to overcome was the belief in lack of money. And I knew I needed to overcome that for the secret to sweep the world.
To be able to attract and bring you.
Yeah, because if I didn't overcome that, how could it possibly?
Why would money come to you then?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had to overcome it.
$30 times. $10 times more. 2 times more. Letting go and stop.
How did you overcome that? I mean,
Oh,
how do you
you don't
overcome
know.
the fear of lack, of the not having enough, never, I'm not worthy of money? How do we finally transition into abundance?
I did that by many things. I tried many things, all kinds of, I was experimenting with it. So, I mean, I would just walk down the street and say, there's prosperity everywhere. I'm breathing in prosperity. I'd do all these affirmations, I'm breathing in prosperity with every breath I take. My substance is prosperity. I am abundant. I am worthy, And so I would say all these affirmations. I would have them all pinned up around the apartment that I was staying in, and so that I would see them and read them every day. So that was just one thing I did. Then what I would do, the biggest thing was, because at the time I was in incredible debt. I was making The Secret and I just didn't have the money to make it.
Wow.
And I started out $2 million in debt, mind you, because of a whole lot of shows that went really wrong. And so...
Because you were producing TV shows at the time.
Yeah, I was. And so, I mean, $2 million in debt makes it sound like I had a lot of money. I never had anything like that money. But these particular movies that we're making, they ran over budget. And so I started with $2 million in debt. I remember I discovered The Secret and I went to my accountant and I said, you have to do whatever it takes to keep my company afloat. I'm going to make something that's going to change the world. I'm going to make it. You keep my company going. And so, and
Wow.
and he just said, okay. And so I took out, oh my gosh, I maxed every credit card I had to the limit. I mortgaged my home to the absolute limit. I took overdrafts out on my company so I could make the documentary.
Wow.
And so I had crushing debt coming in on me, and I needed more money to keep making it. So it was a journey of absolute luck, and the luck was just an expression of what I'd been brought up with. So I had to turn that around. So